Okay, in this video, we're going to do some more division of polynomials, but this time we're going to have a 3 or 4 degree polynomial divided by a first degree polynomial. So as you can see, we have our division. I'm going to take the numerator, put that in my long division box. I'm going to divide it by the x plus 4. Okay, as you can see, I took the numerator and I recopied it in here as a dividend, but notice I included an x term because there's an x to the third, an x to the second, but no x term. So it's just like a 0. So I put in 0x, and that's like a placeholder for us in our division. I'll show you what happens. So first goal is to get rid of this x to the third. What do you have to multiply the x by to make x to the third? That would be x to the second. So I take the x to the second times 4. It gives me 4x squared. I have an x squared term. It's positive. And x squared times x is x to the third. So you can see x to the third minus x to the third, they would be gone. You eliminate the x to the third power term. And you have x squared. No, you have negative 1x squared minus 4x squared, which gives you a negative 5x squared. Now I bring down the 0x term, which is like a 0. It's like a placeholder. And look back to the x. I need to get rid of negative 5x squared. So I want to multiply by negative 5 and an x. Right, so negative 5x times 4 is negative 20x. And negative 5x times x is negative 5x squared. So we're going to subtract, and the x squareds are now eliminated. But 0 minus negative 20 is a positive 20x as my remainder. But now I still have a negative 4 or minus 4 to bring down. Once again, look at the x. X times what would give me 20x? 20 would. So I do plus 20. Multiply times x is 20x. 4 times 20 is 80. And when I go to subtract here, the x terms are gone, but negative 4, subtract 80 gives you a negative 84. Now what do you do with that? That goes on as a remainder. So you have a choice here. Since it's negative, I could put a plus here, and then a fraction for the remainder. I could put negative 84 in the numerator. And then the x plus 4, which is the dividend. So let me pause and type that in. All right, you can see I typed in the x squared minus 5x plus 20. Now I need a subtraction sign. And I want my fraction right there, so I'd have 84 in the numerator, and in the denominator, x plus 4. So I just double check that I have on my worksheet here on my scrap paper what I have over here. Hit the check mark. Looks like it worked. Let's do another one. Now, do you notice in the original problem in the numerator, there was no x to the third term. So I included that in my dividend when I wrote it as long division. So let's take a look at 2x, and we need to get rid of the negative 8x to the fourth. So I need a negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And I need x to the third. So negative 4x to the third would be written here. And you would multiply that times a minus 8 or negative 8, which is what, 32x to the third? It's positive. And then negative 4x cubed times 2x would be negative 8x to the fourth. When I go to subtract, the x to the fourths are eliminated. But 0x cubes minus 32x cubes is negative 32x cubes. So back to the 2x. I need to multiply by negative 16. So I'll put a minus 16 there. And I need x cubed, so I need x squared here, because x squared times x is x cubed. Negative 16 times 2 is negative 32. Oh, and I forgot to bring down the x plus the 8x squared. And I have negative 16x squared times negative 8 is a positive 128. 128x squared. Just got to be careful of those. That's why I have calculators handy. While you go and subtract. I have 8x squared minus 128x squared. Looks like it'd be negative 120x squared. What I didn't do last time until after the fact is I need to bring down the x term. Minus 6x here. What do I multiply 2 by to make negative 120? It would be negative 60x. So minus 60x. You multiply that times the negative 8, which is a positive 480. Positive 480x, so plus 480x. And then I have negative 60 times x times the 2x is negative 120x squared. Well, I eliminate the x squareds, but look at the x's. Negative 6x minus 480x is negative 486x. And I bring down the minus 3. Whew. Holy cow. I'm thinking maybe I messed something up here. So let's take a look. So I just had used my calculator. I put it back over here, but just double check some numbers. And I'm doing it right so far. So what do I multiply 2 by to get negative 486? That would be, let me check this again here. So I have negative 486 divided by 2 gives me negative 243. So I got to multiply this by negative 243. So I need a minus 243 here. Now I have to take that like I had done originally, and it's like we're distributing the negative 243 times a negative 8. Holy cow. So negative 243 times a negative 8 gives me 1944. 1944, it's a positive. And negative 243 times 2 is negative 486x. So when I subtract, those are gone, but I end up with negative 3 minus 1,944, and I get negative 1,947. Now that's going to go in my numerator of my remainder. And then what I would do is I would put the divisor, which is the denominator, in here. So let me take a couple seconds and type that in, and then we'll press the green check, and we'll see what happens. Well, it took a few seconds. I took my time. I'm just double checking that whatever I have up here, I typed in here correctly. And I'm pretty sure I did. And I added the negative 1947 over 2x minus 8. I just made that a subtraction right there. So let's see how we do by hitting that green check. Keep your fingers crossed. Nice. All that work going. All right, let's move to the next problem. So I took the numerator, and as I wrote it in the dividend here, I included an x term. There are no x's, so 0x I included there to help me have a placeholder, so when I divide, everything turns out in the right column. So let's do some division. So we start out with the divide by x minus 1. We look at x to the 4th. We need x to the 3rd. So I go up here, x to the 3rd. times negative 1 is negative 1 x to the third, or just the opposite of x to the third. X to the third times x gives me x to the fourth. I subtract. The x to the fourths are gone, and negative 4 minus negative 1 is same as plus 1 is a negative 3x cubed. Watch out for your negatives. Okay, now bring down the x squared term. Okay, x times negative 3x squared. Yes, so I need negative 3x squared. Times the x gives me negative 3x cubed. And then times negative 1 is just plus 3x squared. So when I subtract, the x cubes will eliminate. But what's negative 4x squared minus negative 7x squared? Bring down the x term, which was a placeholder, 0x. What times x gives me negative 7x squared? That would be negative 7x, so minus 7x. Times negative 1 is positive 7x. And I get negative 7x squared. Subtract, x squareds are gone. 0x's minus 7x gives me negative 7x. And bring down the minus 6. So I'm going to have to multiply by negative 7. Negative 7 times negative 1 is a positive 7. Negative 7 times x, negative 7x. So my x terms are eliminated. But what's negative 6 minus 7? It's negative 13. And that would go in the numerator. Again, I can make the remainder plus, and the fraction negative 13 over the x minus 1. Or I can change this. A negative divided by positive is a negative. I could put that negative out front as a subtraction. So let me type this in here. So a quick look again at what I circled in green here. Did I type that in the way I got it? I'm pretty sure I did the negatives right. I was really trying to be careful with my negatives. So let's hit the green check. We got it. So do your best on these problems. These take a lot more room at times. And just double check your subtractions, whether you're multiplying and then subtracting with negatives, whatever. All right, heads up. Last problem I'm going to do for this section right here. The reason I decided to do this one, I noticed the numerator, the 2x, 2 times x to the third minus 6, you're going to need a placeholder for the x squared terms and the x terms. So I had to include those. So let's do some little math here. Look at 2x cubed and the x, I need 2x squared. So we'll go on that column. Let me tidy that up a little bit here. And multiply times negative 3 would be negative 6x squared. 2x squared times x is positive 2x cubed. Going to subtract. Go on. 0 minus negative 6 is plus 6. It would be positive 6x squared. Bring down the x terms. So I need 6 x's to make that work. Times negative 3 is negative 18x. Times x is 6x squared. Subtract. X squareds are gone. 0 minus negative 18 is positive 18x. Bring down the minus 6. And it looks like I need to multiply by 18 here. Times negative 3 is negative 54. 18 times x is 18x. Go on. Negative 6 minus negative 54, same as adding 54 to negative 6, which gives me a positive 48. And that'll go in my numerator. And my divisor is my denominator. All right, typed it in. Let's see how we did.
Good luck with those.